The Blue Oval Company is set to take 2025 by storm with a lineup that's sure to turn heads and leave everyone speechless. Impressive tech upgrades, jaw-dropping performance enhancements, Ford is about to set new standards in the industry, and therefore, we're getting into the latest and greatest from Ford, including the refreshed Maverick, the revamped Explorer, the luxurious Expedition, and the mind-blowing Mustang GTD. Let's take a closer look at these models that are set to dominate the roads in 2025. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more automotive updates. 2025 Ford Maverick. Without a doubt, the mid-cycle refresh of the Maverick is one of the biggest novelties in the company's lineup, because there's no other Ford model with demand that significantly exceeds supply like it's the case with this compact pickup. And with the latest novelties, we have no doubt that it will continue to sell like hotcakes, and that new owners will continue to wait months to finally get their ordered examples. Because the 2025 Maverick brings substantial improvements, in our humble opinion, the biggest novelty is the all-wheel drive setup for the hybrid. So far, the electrified Maverick has been available only with front-wheel drive, and that was the biggest drawback for most. Now, things have changed, and the Maverick Hybrid won't just be a super efficient pickup truck anymore. It will be a much better off-roader. Not to mention that this version will also be available with a towing package and feature 4,000 pounds of max towing capacity. On the other hand, the Turbo 4 version gets the max output reduced from 250 to 238 horsepower. As we're talking about a mid-cycle refresh, there's a full load of visual upgrades as well. The Maverick gets new headlights, which can come with black accents and LED running lights in higher trims, while the front bumper gets a new shape and now extends into the headlight housing. What's also interesting is that the updated model will offer more distinction between trim levels, as each version will now come with its own unique grille design. On the inside, the biggest novelty is the new tech. Namely, the 8-inch infotainment is no longer there, as all models come standard with a massive 13.2-inch unit, as well as standard wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as a 5G Wi-Fi connection, which will allow over-the-air updates in the future. Speaking of the new tech, we should also mention the new 360-degree camera, while top trims will come standard with drive assist systems like adaptive cruise control and lane centering. Clearly, the 2025 Maverick comes improved in every aspect, and the only thing we're no fan of is the price, as this refresh brings yet another round of price increases. The 2025 Maverick will be almost $2,400 pricier than the base 2024 model, while the hybrid will, for the first time, have a starting price of over $30,000. So we wonder if this can still be considered a pickup bargain, as it certainly was 2 years ago. 2025 Ford Explorer. The popular midsize SUV has always been one of the most important models for the company, and to be honest, it's a bit of a surprise we had to wait until now to see some updates. The current generation has been around since 2020, and it was time to get some changes. Changes are numerous, starting from a new front-end design with a larger grille, new headlights, and a completely redesigned front bumper that even mimics a kind of skid plate to look more rugged. On the rear end, it's easy to notice new taillights, nicer, and now connected with a partly illuminated horizontal bar with Explorer lettering. Another novelty worth mentioning is that the black painted roof is standard in all but the base trim, and while we talk about trim levels, it's good to mention that the offer has been reduced from 8 to 4 trim levels and, to be honest, simplified, offering something we really like in the Explorer's case. Changes are even more impressive on the inside, where the dashboard has been revised completely. Of course, the first thing you'll notice is a pair of massive screens, starting from a new 12.3-inch fully digital instrument cluster and a new 13.2-inch touchscreen. Along with the bigger screen, the infotainment system also features a completely new interface, Google's Android Automotive Operating System for the first time in a Ford. A new voice control system is there too, while things like wireless smartphone connectivity are standard in all variants. Under the skin, things remain pretty much the same, so once again, you may count on two familiar powertrain options, a 300 horsepower Turbo 4 and a 400 horsepower Turbo V6. Practically the only notable change in this aspect is that the once optional towing package is now standard, so every model can tow 5,000 pounds. All in all, the Explorer has improved notably, but new design and standard equipment also mean a higher starting price. Compared to the 2024, the updated model cost almost $3,000 extra and now starts at around $41,350, while the most expensive variants can go way over $60,000. 2025 Ford Expedition. Another Ford model that is getting a massive update for the 2025 model year is the flagship Expedition. The full-size body-on-frame SUV has been in its current form since 2018, so novelties are more than welcome. The test mule has already been spotted a couple of times, and even though it still wears a lot of camouflage, some changes can easily be seen. This particularly refers to the front-end design, where the most notable are new headlights. Once again, they're wrapped with LED daytime running lights, though in a new shape now. Also, the new units come in two housings now rather than one. The bumper is also reshaped, while the new front fascia seems to feature a cleaner, simplified look. On the other end, the test mule already shows a completely new taillight design. The new units are slimmer and cut sharply into the body, while it also seems like the new model will feature a split tailgate, something that used to be reserved for a couple of premium SUVs like the BMW X5 and Range Rover only. Finally, another thing that's impossible not to notice, the new monumental 24-inch wheels, the biggest we've ever seen on an Expedition. Luxury upgrades continue on the inside, as we already managed to notice a massive 48-inch display that spans the entire dashboard in the test mule. It's pretty much the exact unit found in the Lincoln Nautilus, so we presume that the massive display won't be touch-sensitive, but rather controlled through a smaller unit mounted on the center stack. The rest of the cabin is still a mystery, but we presume that the 2025 Expedition is about to bring improvements in materials quality, while the overall cabin layout of this full-size 3-row SUV. Despite the massive updates, things under the skin are likely to remain unchanged. The Expedition is about to continue with the familiar 3.5-liter turbocharged V6, which is currently available in two variants, either with 380 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque, or 400 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. Of course, there's always a chance to see a slight output increase, while several sources also mention the possibility of the addition of a hybrid system to the lineup. If that happens, we would see the same V6-based setup as on the F-150 hybrid with 430 horsepower. The officials are still quiet on this matter. They are also quiet about the release date, so the most precise we could say at the moment is that the refreshed Expedition will hit the market later this year. 2025 Ford Mustang GTD. Who would have thought that a model that has always been a synonym for an affordable sports car designed for the working class would eventually cost over $300,000? Don't get us wrong, the Mustang is still a performance bargain in its standard variant, but the GTD is something different, something that goes way beyond the Shelby GT500 or anything we've seen from the most iconic pony car of all time before. The Mustang GTD comes directly from a track, and it's pretty much a street-legal version of the GT3 race car with one significant difference. While the GT3 features a 5.4-liter V8 with around 500 horsepower, which is the limit at the Grand Touring Daytona competition where it participates, the street-legal version uses the GT500 supercharged 5.2-liter V8, which has been additionally tuned and now features a max output of 800 horsepower with the red line at 7,500 RPM. But despite the impressive max output that puts this Mustang in the supercar category, the GTD is least about raw power. It's about the chassis, suspension, and other things that turned a typical muscle car into something that's as nimble as things could be. And if you wonder, how can a Mustang cost $325,000? Let's just say that the rear-mounted 8-speed transmission comes in a combination with a carbon fiber drive shaft. The list of special features goes on. The GTD's body comes with an aggressive front splitter and a vented hood and fenders with a hydraulically controlled wing. Furthermore, you can opt for a package that adds a carbon fiber underbody tray and hydraulically controlled front flaps that optimize airflow. Back to suspension. The GTD stands out with a genuine racetrack setup with pushrod suspension and adaptive spool valve shocks that can, in the race car model, lower the ground clearance by 1.5 inches. 20-inch alloy wheels are standard, while you can opt for magnesium wheels to shave more weight. In both cases, this Mustang comes with massive 325mm wide tires in front and 345mm wide tires on the rear end. From what we know so far, the most advanced and most capable Mustang will arrive either late in 2024 or early 2025, and the company plans to produce between 300 and 700 vehicles per year with a starting price of around $325,000, as we already mentioned. What do you think of Ford's novelties for 2025? Let us know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.